There's a
And
big scary spider behind you.
he's okay. And yeah, he's fine. He's a good guy.
Okay.
Ugh. I hope it's a spider. Might be a roach. Mm. Could be.
Ooh.
Mm. But
I think a roach knows better than to be there.
Yeah, roaches are notoriously skittish. They don't just like run around your house.
that one looks like he's happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, if he is anything but a spider.
Imagine
He
his
seems
soul has passed into that spider and he's come to visit.
He's come to visit.
It's very like
Woody?
something like my parents do. Like if a blue jay flies into the yard, they're like, "Look, it's grandma."
Dude, I love that like kind of like over the top optimism where it's like, oh, look, that's great grandfather Herschel, you know, and he's in that cardinal out there who's going to be consumed by a hawk later this afternoon. Yeah, if I came back as an animal and it was a bug, I would know I fucked up in life, big time.
Maybe it's wonderful being a bug, though. Maybe you don't understand how little your life is, and it's just nothing but drinking sugar and flying through the air.
We're bugs right now, probably. Like we are bugs. We think we're so big. We're probably bugs, less than bugs.
We'd be getting crushed by something giant out there if we were.
No, time is just so crazy that like we're just some molecule floating in some larger, grander existence, and we're like that hasn't happened yet. And time
I don't like the depressing.
We're on end
the
time.
depressingness of that.
We're on end time, so this is super slow, or no, super fast actually.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, right?
I know.
Breaking it down in Lord of the Rings.
The opposite of Vince time. Yeah, we're in Hobbit time. Or man time, whatever the.
Yeah, we're on bottom leaf time. You know what I'm saying? Bottom leaf. I only smoke top leaf.
Yeah, I saw like an article pretty recently that talked about Tolkien, like late in his life. Some like hippy dippy people were like, bro, long bottom leaf. It's like weed. And apparently Tolkien hated that. He was like, it's not weed. It's tobacco in the fantasy world. I don't know what he sounded. He didn't sound like this.
Probably not.
Not even close. But he's like, that's not. I'm not a fan of this, bruv.
He's like a professor of linguistics. He probably spoke pretty well.
Oi, brother. That ain't what long bottom leaf is. In it.
He's like, bottom leaf is not weed. It's crack.
It's crack.
I choose to believe it was weed.
I pumped the whole fantasy world.
Bro, they ran through fucking 4 countries on like 3 pieces of lembas bread.
Yeah,
killing a rat along the way. They're on that Nazi meth head diet.
Oh yeah, that was with
going and going,
like eating a third of it before they even left.
Yeah, I told you I saw Lord of the Rings 2 Towers extended cut in 4DX.
Does it come around the sides?
They
too,
like
the screen?
No, it's not that, but the same theater does have one of those, and I've been to one of those immersion ones, and I like it because I like watching. I don't watch movies in complete darkness, so the extra screens just create more light, and I enjoy that. But they didn't immerse me any further. But 4DX, it like shakes you and stuff. Like when you're on the warg, it's like literally like like bouncing you, and you're like popcorn's bouncing. And you're like you're stoned. You're like
what's the ticket?
And like animal drool, it like splashes water in your face, and when they're fast, like the wind blows. And then when they're burning, they burn all the Uruk-hai bodies, all those orcs that they burn in that one. The theater starts to smell bad. And whenever the elven princess is on the screen, the theater smells really good.
Oh, that's fun.
And then, like,
did you only see 2 towers, or did you see all 3 of them?
I only saw 2 towers, but because I was only there that day. But to be honest, I was happy for 2 towers because whenever I go to 4DX, I usually turn off the water. Because I don't like that effect. It bothers my buddy. But when it was coming up to Helm's Deep, I was like, hey. And I like turned my water on. I was like, for Helm's Deep, I'll have the water on.
You need the
like
water.
It's happening. You're just like, it's raining on you. You're watching Helm's Deep and it's like you're getting rained on.
Dude, I get amped up at the beginning of Helm's Deep every time. That's so
that
cool.
Arrow flies and hits that fucking, yeah.
Yeah, when what's his name accidentally shoots the arrow, kills the Uruk-hai.
But it's so crazy how scary they are when they're out there. You're like, oh fuck, we got to do this now. And it's still scary now the way it's presented when they're out there and they're just like they're savages, but like they're literally a cohesive unit right now, banging their fucking sticks. And
yeah, and you see that one Uruk-hai go up on that rock that kind of juts out and kind of screams and get, if I were a real nerd, I'd know his
the
name's
water
Ogma.
vapor when he screams coming off of that real mask was so cool. And
That was
dripping.
Flies in your, and you get splashed in your face if you're watching it in 4DX.
Taylor showed me
4DX theater.
You sent me that picture of Grishnak, who is I believe he's the orc who wants to eat Merry and Pippin on the way to back to Saruman.
Just the legs.
What about them?
They don't need those.
They are not fighting.
Why? Do they give good sport?
They have an
So
elvish weapon.
crazy.
It's so good.
He looks exactly like 3 Jewish people I know. Every
I know
time
one
I
of them.
watch it, I always say to my buddy, I'm like, yo, he looks like Jay.
He looks like Jill Biden. He looks like Jill Biden. Taylor told me that, and now I can't get the image out of my head. And I saw Jill Biden at I'm not even trying to be super biased. Like I think it's ridiculous when they make fun of politicians for being ugly. They're all
Kind of ugly.
They're all kind of ugly. They all got their disgusting flaws. Hillary had a huge can for an old white gal, and they kept the cameras off that thing. But rewind me 3 seconds.
Grishnak looking like Jill Biden.
Oh my God, I saw Jill Biden hollering at the post-debate where Biden was like I don't remember where he was, but he did a rally stop, and he's like, I don't speak as well as I used to, and I'm not as slick, but I'm not a liar, and this is about the truth, or whatever he said. And Jill Biden at one point takes the mic, and she's like, we're all so proud of you, Joe. You answered all the questions. I swear to God, that's what she said. She said, you answered all those questions. Like, that was a bar. Like, I almost expected her to be like Bill Maher. I'd be like, you stayed upright. No, it was Jon Stewart. You stayed upright continuously. But she's yelling, and when she yelled, she looked just like that fucking orc dude. And I couldn't get it out of my head.
Just feral.
I fucking love, and I hate that it was trademarked, but I love in Shadow of Mordor, they had the Nemesis system. So, like, if you ever got killed by an orc, any orc, even or a goblin, like whoever killed you, they got a promotion. And like they were always, every character was like named, and like so like you would just like some fucking loser just gets the last hit on you. He's like, I've killed the ranger, and then you're playing, and like 20 minutes later you're doing something, and then you just hear like Grishak, 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 and then it like zooms in on some guy, and he's like, what is the ranger? Maybe a little taste. And you're just like, nothing ever got me to like sit up like an AI, multiplayer, but when this isn't a real person, I'm lying back gaming, but I sit back, I'm like, fucking Grishak, bro, let's go. Like, I'm mad at him.
That was such a great mechanic.
Always do. It was amazing. I hate that like no one else can do that, because they're like, no, we trademarked and we're not making these games anymore.
Oh, that sucks, because that is
Did
a
you
really
play
cool
that?
mechanic.
Did you play Shadow?
I played one of them briefly, and it was a little too repetitive.
Very repetitive.
But the combat system's super repetitive.
But after a while, like once you've killed,
I think I only killed like three or four bosses, and it was like,
that was the second one, I think. And the second one, I feel like, oh no, it could have been the first one too.
I played
the second
both.
one felt more like pay to win style. The second one had like because you can buy. The second one was the one where they sold the dead developer, R.I.P. They were like, they put him as a skin, like as like an orc that they like was a white orc that they named after him in honor of him, and they were like, yeah, the proceeds go to the family, but it was a very small percentage of the proceeds that went to the family, and everyone found them. They were like really like bothered by that, and they were like, why not just give it all?
Yeah,
why
that's
even
pretty
like
shitty.
why not? And like for whatever the reason is.
Also,
But,
did he want to be memorialized as an orc, or did they just decide he's going to be an orc now? Because I wouldn't want to be an orc.
They're like, he
character
hated
memorial.
when we called him the White Orc, but now that he's gone,
now that he's gone, he can't stop us. Yeah, the White Orc, the worst villain in the Lord of the Rings Hobbit series. Guy just wasn't scary.
I can't.
Just not
Those Hobbit
scary.
movies are garbage, man. Almost every minute of that, like 9 hours of content or whatever it is bad. There might be 20 solid, fun minutes. The dragon shit is pretty
They could
good.
have made such a great one movie.
Yeah.
They could have made such a crazy good one movie.
I don't even
and it
know if
would
they
have been-
could though.
They
But
could have.
like-
Hobbit's a great story.
Hear me out. When you get to the end and you have that battle between the elves and the dwarves, it's too comical and lighthearted for me. Like I just saw the clip on Reddit yesterday. I didn't even remember it, where all the elves do a volley fire into the dwarves, and the dwarves launch these whirly dwirlies or something to chop up all their arrows in midair, and then they continue on and just annihilate at least dozens and dozens of elves. And I'm thinking, like, all of those immortals just died for no reason over there. But we cut to the leader of the dwarves, and he's like, "How do you like our twirly twirlies? You bunch of pointed ears!" And it's like, ha ha ha! He killed those elves for daring shoot arrows at them. Now they're gonna chart. I didn't like any of that shit.
Yeah.
It would have made a good companion piece for the trilogy if you just had like a hour and a half max, 90-minute fucking banger that's just, you know, for the real boys that want to chronologically go through the whole thing, just to add to the extended cut sickos that do the extended cuts in one shot, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's just part of it. And yeah, I actually did not watch these at all. Like I was so not about it. I read The Hobbit and I was like, you can't do this to me. I'm not playing your game. I'm not doing that.
I would not.
Wait, you didn't watch the movies? The Hobbit movies?
Nope.
You
The most
should.
I saw is when I was like in Best Buy and they were trying to sell like TVs. They like to show that movie because it had
Yeah, it looks good.
the special like
Frame rate.
48. Yeah, exactly. So they like to show that movie, and I would stand there in some scenes. I'd look at it and I'm like, oh, it looks kind of cool in this isolated moment right here. And I'm not going to ruin that.
But it's not. Like there's a lot of scenes that don't make any sense, characters that shouldn't be there. I'll never rewatch the Hobbit series.
Did you like that old cartoon from back in the day where they
Yes,
like,
loved
painted
it.
over people?
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
such
I
a
watched that at
crazy
my
style of
grandparents'
animation.
house on VHS. It was great.
Like that technology was crazy. You're like, dude, this is fucked. This is like real.
There was like
cartoon.
also the full cartoon Hobbit. If you ever saw that from like the 70s.
Oh, that's the one I was talking about, where they're drawing over it. They were like,
Oh
drawing
fuck!
over
I haven't seen
people.
that in so long.
And
that
they
I
had,
didn't even
there's
realize
like
that was
an
the art
intro,
style.
and then they have an intro. It's like real people. It's like black and red, and it's like real people as they kind of like do that little bit of exposition. And yeah, it's just like one of those like that era in movie where like that era in time where like every animated thing was also geared to stoners.
Because that's who was watching it.
I
Animated content wasn't quite
Heavy
there
Metal.
yet.
You remember that movie Heavy Metal? It was like the series of stories,
Yes.
animated. Yeah, it was so crazy.
Is that with a major boobage?
It had like that guy. It was kind of like Fifth Element, where that guy's like a cab driver, and he has that girl. They're chasing him. It's like a future cab, and he has like a button that vaporizes the guy in the back seat.
I have not seen this on second thought.
I have not.
No.
So good. It's a good one. I
Wow, you
haven't
haven't
seen
seen
it in
it,
a
Kyle?
long time. I
I haven't.
Time.
I didn't
Heavy
watch
Metal,
a lot
I'm
of
sure you'll
animated.
put it on and you'll be like, this has been on TV before at an age when I didn't know what I was watching.
That's
and I
possible.
watched it, and you were back in the day, you were like halfway through a movie and you don't know what the movie's called, and you kind of like it and you have no idea what it is, and there's no way to ever find out what was on channel 35 at 1 a.m. on that day.
My dad had a satellite dish in like 1988. So like one of those big ones that looked like he was searching for extraterrestrial
That's
life.
crazy.
And so we get British cable. And so I would watch all these little British cartoons. And I have these somewhat vivid memories of like from 4 years old of like a character
Postman
called
Pat. Oh,
Banana Man. Banana Man. Okay. He'd be like, I'm Banana Man. He's because it's a guy. And he was a superhero banana. And I have no concept of if that was real or if that was a fever dream I had. I do remember David the Gnome. Do you remember David the Gnome?
No.
All right, boys. This is for those of y'all who are my age. Maybe you remember this because you had to be 4 in like 1990 to know David the Gnome. Maybe it was this animated series about two gnomes who lived in a tree. David and his wife Sarah, and David was a doctor. And gnomes lived for like 200 years or something, I think. But David would ride around on a fox, like fast as hell, to go out and like do medicine for, I think, forest critters and other like tiny peoples and stuff like that. At the end of the series, he was like, well, my 200 years are up. And he dies. He straight up just dies.
dude, I literally just put in David the Gnome and it said David the Gnome dies. That was what Google predicted.
Wow.
David the Gnome
Spoilers.
death.
it's that him and Sarah would do like Eskimo kisses. They rub their noses together and they both get red. It was a sweet little cartoon, but I have vivid memories of that stuff. I wonder what my earliest memory was.
This is from the synopsis. The series follows the gnomes, a kind of species who are 15 centimeters, 6 inches, tall and weigh between 250 and 300 grams, 8 to 10 ounces. There are several types of gnomes, those of the forest, garden, farmhouse, dunes, and Siberia, as well as nomadic gypsy gnomes, who are generally looked down upon by other gnomes. With few exceptions, a gnome's lifespan is exactly 400 years. Man, you remembered this pretty well for not having seen it.
When did it like air?
Episode 1986.
Okay. I was watching reruns.
October 1985 to April 1986. Not a long run.
I wasn't born yet. Yeah, just before I was born. So I would definitely watch the
David,
reruns.
voiced by Tom Bosley. Isn't that the suit guy? Who the fuck is Tom Bosley? Oh, he's an actor. I thought he was like I was thinking like the Men's Warehouse guy.
You're gonna like the way you look, guy.
Yeah, you're gonna like the way you look.
That big ass satellite dish that you were describing always reminds me of that movie Stay Tuned, which was so sick back in the day. It was this movie. Was it Mitch Ritter and him and his wife get sucked into a TV? They get like the sickest satellite. John Ritter. They get the sickest satellite dish, and it's like a huge satellite dish, and they're like watching TV and fight over the remote, and it's like Satan satellite dish. This is mostly off memory, and
I've never seen this.
They get sucked into the TV, and then it's all these parodies shows, but like it's like evil, twisted versions of the parody of shows.
Is it animation when they go in?
There is one animated channel. No, there is one channel that's a cartoon, and that's how the kids see it. He's like watching, and he's like, this is mom and dad. And his sister's like, don't be an idiot. Give me the remote. My friends are watching. He's like, yo, this is mom and dad. And they like, the mom says something, even though she's like a cartoon mouse, but they're dressed like the parents. And they're like, what the fuck? And they're like, parents are stuck in the TV. So they're trying to like figure out how to get them. So they keep changing the channel. And they go to like a wrestling channel. Now the mom and dad are like on a wrestling show, and they're like fighting these wrestlers that are jacked, that are beating the shit out of them.
So something like that, if I watched that when I was like 5, I can tell that would have been really upsetting to me. my parents were stuck
so
in the
high.
TV.
The stakes were so high when you were watching it as a kid. But I'm just thinking about how sick a new version of Stay Tuned would be. But it's the internet, and you're like trying to track your parents, and they're like on live leak. You're like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. Your parents have like potato sacks over their heads, and like they're
go to a different URL quickly.
Like in an ISIS video.
Go to YouTube, something where they can't be killed.
Yeah, well, they were in like a French part once, and they were about to get like they were on the guillotine, about to be decapitated, and they were able to escape to the next channel.
Oh no! You flipped to like a World War II documentary.
I like John Ritter. Yeah. I'm gonna have to watch this now.
This is gonna be such a treat for you. This is gonna be such a treat. Like I have to watch this again also.
I love all that 80s shit. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids was one that I felt like had a lot at stake when I was watching it as a kid. I was so worried.
That series.
Dude, when when Auntie dies, it's fucking sad.
When there were so many good moments, and there were Honey, I Blew Up the Baby. Remember that?
Yeah. You can't watch the sequels.
Not a great sequel.
During COVID, I was so obsessed with like just like I had nothing. It was just everything was all fucked up. I ended up watching a cut of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids that my buddy had edited that had none of all the kids scenes removed.
That's like the whole movie. What else happened?
It was just the parents.
So it was just the boring exposition where they're like, honey, I'm home. And the wife's like,
was weird.
On this April 8th, the year of our 10th wedding anniversary.
It is a weird movie.
That's bizarre.
Well,
the whole time you know where the kids are too. Yeah. You're like,
yeah, but it was funny when it played out because you know where it, like you knew when it cut from something that was probably important to make it interesting.
Yeah. They just had an ant fight a scorpion or something.
Yeah, and Rick Moranis, he left on top at the end of the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids franchise. just went off into that good night, and you lived a normal life, right?
His wife died of cancer, and he had to retire to raise their children. And yeah.
All right.
But he did Little Giants also. I watched that recently. How
you feel now?
Good.
Well, I feel sadder about it.
You should feel better about him. You should feel better about Darth Helmet.
It's going to turn out.
He did I guess he did do Little Giants.
Yeah, he was.
I remember watching Little Giants as a young kid and being like, damn, that kid's carrying a whole refrigerator out of the back of a truck. He must be good at football. And then they played, and that was the movie where even the coach before the big game was like, I'm not going to lie to you. They're a better team with more skilled kids. They're going to beat us 99 times out of 100, guaranteed. But what's that leave us? And all the kids are like, yeah, one time.
Yeah, and that hit, dude. When you watch that movie, like when you're younger, that resonates. I found that to be an extremely positive thing to go back on.
That's still pretty positive
for my entire life. No, that's been there my entire life. If there's like a 1 in 100 chance that you have to do something, you're like, this is that one time.
Yeah. One time, just like Rick Moranis said.
Did you watch Sandlot? Because that was the one I really liked as a kid.
I've seen Sandlot.
Yeah, that little redheaded kid was in a bunch of shit. He was also in The Green. What was it? The Green? It may have been just called The Green.
It was a Big Green or something.
Yeah, it was the soccer movie. I think there might have been a dog in that movie.
The cover has the fat redheaded kid going like, whoa, like all splayed out in front of the soccer net.
Yeah, he was also, I think he was in that show, that movie Heavyweights, I think, with the fat kid camp.
Yeah, Heavyweights is...
He was in that X-Files episode.
Christopher Lloyd was in that, I think.
Heavyweights is
that's Camp Nowhere. Heavyweights with Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
People say they like to believe that that's the same universe as Dodgeball, because that's the character he plays in Heavyweights.
Yeah,
he's the camp director, and he didn't want his name anywhere in the movie because they just thought that the movie was like such a bust. It was supposed to be in the theaters, and Disney was like, fuck the marketing, this is kind of a bad movie, it's not really chill. And when the movie came out, it was so huge, and they were not prepared for the popularity of it.
Yeah, I loved Heavyweights. It's like, I think I saw it like once within the last 10 years, and it still made me laugh.
I need to pull it up.
Like when they find, like when the veteran fat kids are showing all of the expert CIA level ways they're hiding candy.
Why it's so funny that we keep pulling up all the exact same things that just were the scenes that stood out so much when you see these movies.
That fat British kid is like, would you like a chocolate, sir? And opens his jacket, and he's like a chocolate dealer. He's got pallets of it under.
Remember Goonies Chunk? Like he used to do the truffle shuffle, and he would shake his belly. Like you look at that now, and you're like, that is not a fat child at all.
No,
but
back then it was crazy.
Did you watch Matilda as a kid? The Danny DeVito movie.
I didn't like Matilda very much. I did not. Matilda herself did not draw me in. I'm like, you're not that interesting.
I liked it a lot. I thought Danny DeVito's character was hilarious, and the Principal Trunchbull, I think was her name. She was terrifying. For those that don't know, it was like this school that this little girl was going to, and she's got magical powers. Not magical, but like telekinesis and stuff like that. Like real powers without magic. That makes sense. And the principal's awful. She's like a former Olympic hammer thrower. Just this big boss bitch, and she's got warts on her face and stuff. And the way she punishes the kids is she puts them in the chokey. And the chokey is this closet that's dark, and there's pokey, stabby things all over the walls and the doors. So you have to huddle in the middle of the room, and you have to be careful to not stick yourself on the wall. She was a Mossad agent. Maybe she did have that look about her. And so at school in second grade, they asked my sister's class, probably looking for child abusers. It's one of those questions when you get in trouble at home, when you're naughty, what do your parents do? And my sister said, they put me in the chokey. So they call my mother to the office. My mom teaches in the school, and they're like, so she says that when she gets in trouble at home, she gets put in the chokey. And she's like, the chokey is from a movie called Matilda that she watches every single day. she's messing with you.
You
We don't
fool.
have one. Yeah, we don't, you fool. We don't have a
We
choke.
don't have an Iron Maiden room in
Yeah.
the house.
We use
Yeah.
our closet for storage, not torture.